Hello, dear friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy weekend. It's Friday again. Time flies. All right, it's high time we refrain from work, have some time, rest for yourself, and then worship your God. Weekend, you should have a day with your God. But I advise let it be on the Sabbath day. Okay? That will give you the blessing of the Sabbath. Thank you. Now, what we have here is massive, is big. It's thrilling to Biafrans. There was a lot of negotiations, and Mazen Amdekano did his own, Simon Ekpa did his own, and then now it is bringing about Donald Trump recognizing USB as a sovereign nation. You can imagine that. Yes, it is unbelievable. But then, if God is with you, nobody can be against you. Even if you let the whole world be against you, they will fumble and fall. Yes, they will fall because God will cause their fall. Nigeria is falling. It's falling like Babylon. And the fall of Nigeria will be very sound. Boom! Otogada. Suddenly they will be slipped off and they will land. And it is happening right before us. All right? I want you to get the details of this news. I'll be right back.
From the USB movement. Yes, just in case you don't know, the current president of the USA and the person of Donald Trump has officially recognized the USB as a nation and as a legal entity. Yes, this is a massive one at the end. So the question here is, how did this happen and who brought the movement of the USB on the desk of Mr. Donald Trump? Well, let's start from the very first day. On the 16th of November 2024, Mr. Simon released a post on his Twitter page. This post, it states, the giants of Washington, D.C. are all joining the government for a good history that is about to happen. And this was released last year. When this whole tweet came to the media space, many individuals did not understand what was playing and what was happening behind the scenes. Yes, this felt like a regular tweet coming from Mr. Simon, but we never knew that these guys were trying to lobby and also present the USB movement in front of the president of the USA. Yes, so Mr. Simon needed to present USB in front of the president of the USA, and he needed someone to do it for him. Yes, he needed someone who has a high profile in the international world, and that is where a man known as Elias Gerasulis came into play. Yes, it's a brief description of this particular man known as Elias Gerasulis. This man happens to be a professional lobbyist, and he works for a company known as Moran Global Strategies, which happens to be a prominent lobbying firm that was founded by a former congressman in the person of Jim Moran. Yes. So Mr. Simon employed the services of this individual known as Elias Gerasulis so as to present the movement of the USB in front of the official president of the USA. Yes, so Mr. Simon did a lot of negotiating with this individual, and everything, the contracts, the negotiations, and the objectives were clear and stamped, and that is when every single thing came into play. A couple of days later, this man known as Elias Gerasulis met with Ngozi Orabueze, who currently is the Deputy Prime Minister of the USB movement. Well, if you look at this publication, and this is coming from Mr. Simon, where it states, the lobbyist Elias Gerasulis and Chief of Staff Dr. Ngozi Orabueze are the headquarters of the lobbying firm in Washington, D.C., Moran Global Strategies. Yes, this is the very first day that Ngozi Orabueze, together with this individual known as Elias, met in person so as to present a lot of documents, a lot of files, and series of portfolio in front of a sitting president in the USA. Interestingly, after this man met with Ngozi Orabueze, he immediately met with a series of individuals domiciled in the USB movement. Yes, in this particular meeting, Mr. Elias, together with every other individual seated there, came together, they brought their heads together to devise a means and to draw out a blueprint in gaining the attention of the president of the USA. Yes, this guy wanted to meet and have conversations with the president of America, and they had to do it strategically. Yes, and that is when they opted to go through an organization known as the USA Department of Justice. Yes, it's a quick description of this particular establishment or government entity domiciled in the USA, which states the United States Department of Justice, also known as the Justice Department, is a federal executive department of the USA government that oversees the domestic enforcement of federal laws and every other matters within. Yes, so this man known as Mr. Elias decided to go through the USA Department of Justice as a means to meet with the president of the USA in the person of Donald Trump. Yes, the plan was very simple and well calculated. A couple of months later, Mr. Elias, together with Ngozi Orabueze, drafted a letter that was sent to the Department of Justice USA. Well, it's an official document, an authentic document coming from that government body domiciled in America. As you can clearly see, it states registration statement pursuant in the Foreign Agent Registration Act of 1938 as amended. And when you take a look at the name of the registrant, it states the USB government. This is actually a fantastic one. Well, that is not even all. Yes, that is not even all. On the 20th of February 2025, Ngozi Orabueze came out to expose one of the biggest news for that particular movement. Well, it's her post or a tweet coming from her official handle. It states, and I quote, "Breaking, Department of Justice registers and recognizes the USB as a foreign nation with its cabinet members." Yes, we are no longer an agent organization. We are a nation with all the laws protecting a nation. So how did this even get to the table or to the desk of Mr. Trump? Well, Trump rewards personal lawyers with Justice Department posts. Yes, so this is simple. Donald Trump rewarded some of his loyal lawyers in different positions domiciled in that said Justice Department of America. We have a man known as Todd Blanche. Yes, this is the same individual who signed the document presented by Ngozi Orabueze. Yes, this man happens to be a very, very close friend and a supporter of Mr. Donald Trump. And it is very possible that he actually seek permission and seek full recognition from the president before that document was actually signed. So what does this actually mean for the USB movement? Yes, so it's one thing that the president of the USA have officially recognized the USB as a nation and as a sovereign state. The other thing is, what are the importance? Why is this even important to the layman on the street? Well, let me show you some of its importance and everything you need to know, because this is a big one. Well, so the very first achievement or the very, very big impact of this recognition is the fact that the USB movement is no longer a group or an organization. Yes. And the second importance is the fact that the USB can now operate freely within the coffers and in any space in America. Yes, this is massive. And the third importance is the fact that the USB is now a legal entity in the eyes of the US president and government. Yes, the USB now is now a legal entity, is now a state recognized by America, and these guys are actually very free to hold meetings, to hold protests if that comes into play, to hold campaigns and every other thing within its capabilities. Yes, so the USB is now a legal entity in the eyes of the USA. And the fourth importance is the USB can now seek for financial aid. Yes, so just in case you don't know, this US Department of Justice usually grants aids and grants support to a series of bodies and structures domiciled all across the world. Yes, in total, this US Department of Justice has granted a total of 3.2 billion plus loans and grants to states, local and tribal partners. Yes, so the USB movement can actually seek for funds and seek support and aid from the US Department of Justice, because they have now been recognized and signed as a legal nation operating within the international space. Well, moving on swiftly, the fifth importance is the fact that the USB has its own laws. Yes, the USB can now create and formulate its own written laws. And the sixth importance is USB is now a nation. and this is one of the biggest achievements so far. So as you can see, things will only get interesting from this point moving forward, because the movement has achieved a massive feat. And kudos to Donald Trump, together with his loyal lawyers who signed that proposal into laws. Kudos to these individuals, and we can't wait to see how things unfold in the future.
Ndị be anyị, dịka unu nụrụ ife anyị wetara unu ụbọchị nke taa, ka efi were unu dị nke gị